Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Sharon grills Nick about Phyllis, and Audra scores a win Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. Today on The Young and the Restless, Victoria asks Cole to move in, and Holden grills Kyle, much to Audra's chagrin. On Crimson Light's patio, Cole joins Victoria and Nick, who says, "I'd given you up for dead." Cole tells him, "Hey, you're not going to get rid of me that easy." Victoria tells him they were all worried about him. Cole admits he was worried himself. He's grateful for all of her TLC. Victoria complains he quarantined himself in a suite. He had to keep his loved ones safe. Victoria announces that she wants him to move into the tack house so they can live as one big happy family. Cole learns Claire's plans to move in with Kyle are on hold for now, and that Katie and Johnny are on board. They thought he was already living there. Nick thought so too. He leaves them to figure this out. Victoria teases Cole that he can't use the Katie and Johnny excuse not to move in, so what else does he have? Cole learns Claire suggested this, and they go over not getting to raise her. Victoria says their daughter wants her to be happy. She was hoping he'd want the same thing. Cole decides he'll say yes, and they kiss. They go over her not being able to take care of him when he was sick. He assures her that the next time she'll be by his side. They marvel at how far they've come. They finally figured out they belong together. Cole swerves back to Victor, interfering in Claire's love life. He wasn't thrilled with the idea of her moving in with Kyle either, if felt too soon. Victoria reiterates that she's chosen to slow things down. Cole thinks he should have a conversation with Victor. Victoria says their daughter has a plan to win him over. Cole learns they're planning a party for Nikki where Kyle will make a grand gesture to win Victor over. Cole fully supports it. If she stays longer, it gives him the opportunity to live under the same roof with his two favorite girls for longer. Nick gets grilled. Nick joins Sharon inside, and he asks how things went with her and Phyllis at the park when he left. She assures him they've put their animosity aside. They go over how they bonded over the kidnapping. Nonetheless, Nick picked up on some tension and asks what that was all about. Sharon isn't sure what he was picking up on. They're not besties, but they finally saw the good in each other. She asks Nick to be honest. Does he wish he and Phyllis were a couple again? Nick says he and Phyllis aren't getting back together. Why would she ask that? She saw something between him and Phyllis when she came upon them in the park. He shares the same bond with her that he does with Sharon. The blonde wonders if Phyllis is more traumatized by a lawn than she's willing to admit. She'll burn everything down in her life before she admits she needs help. Nick is drawn to that like a moth to a flame. "That's what I'm sensing, Nick. Am I right?" Nick says Phyllis is strong. Sharon is too, but that doesn't mean she can't break. Phyllis seems so vulnerable, almost fragile. She needs rescuing. "Is that something that you want to do? Because I can see you falling into that old habit again." Playing the hero and falling for Phyllis again. Nick says it's not going to happen. "You're wrong." He asks where this is coming from. It seems there's more to it than her being concerned about Phyllis. "It kinda seems like you're jealous." Sharon denies it. Nick reminds her they discussed this and agreed they're better off as friends. They've spent a lot of time together these past months, but they agree that's not what either of them wants. Sharon told him in London she's fine with them being friends. "This isn't about you and me. This is about you and Phyllis." She doesn't want him involved in an unhealthy entanglement again. Nick muses. "So, you're concerned about our well-being?" Sharon nods. Nick assures her there's no reason to worry. He and Phyllis are happy with their arrangement, just as they are with theirs. On the patio, Cole stands up to leave and gets woozy. Victoria's glad he'll be living close by so she can keep an eye on him. Cole points to Sharon and Nick inside and asks what's going on with them. Victoria gets the feeling they're trying to find their way back to each other. Nick can deny it all he wants, but the look in Sharon's eye tells a different story. They agree it's a good thing, and exit. Inside, Nick says it's not new for Sharon to be worried about him getting involved with Phyllis. He's enjoying seeing the two of them not fight. Sharon teases if he misses them fighting over them. Nick has accepted that he's a better friend to them than husband. No more messy entanglements. Sharon asks if it's okay for them to have dinner. Nick says, of course. They don't have to stress over what it means or where it might lead. Sharon teases that she can help them figure out the two forks. What are friends for? Claire puts her plan into action. Claire arrives at the ranch with a gift for Victor. It's a chocolate croissant, so he teases her about having to stay in shape. Claire only has a few minutes to talk. Victor assumes it's about Kyle and warns she already knows how he feels about him. He's sorry to learn she hasn't cut him off and feels there's no point in discussing the Abbott. Claire asks him to hear her out. He might be surprised by what she has to say. Claire hates that this is straining her relationship with her grandfather. Victor does too. She lets him know that his approval means a lot to her. She's spoken to Kyle, and they put their plans to move in together on hold for now. Victor's chuffed. Claire notes that after how he welcomed her into the family, she owes him honesty. She and Kyle are in love, and she thinks in time he'll prove he can be trusted with her heart. Victor doesn't want her to be hurt and respects what she has to say. Claire notes that Nikki's birthday is coming up. Would he help her plan a party? Victor's glad Claire is planning a party. He was going to do so himself. They talk about Nikki training Claire to take over for her someday. Claire wants to focus on the party planning and notes it's not a surprise. She's already told her grandmother and her mom, but she wants to work on it with Victor. He says, "Count me in." Kyle gets grilled. Kyle walks into society and Holden greets him and reminds him Claire introduced them at the jazz club. He tells him he's impressed with what he and his father have done at Jabot and offers to buy him a drink. Kyle accepts as Audra walks in and looks horrified. Audra strolls over and learns they met a few weeks ago when Claire introduced them. Kyle says, he got her hooked on Vespers. Audra makes a crack and Kyle asks how long they've been friends. Neither of them would say they're friends. They handled some business together back in L.A. Audra muses, it was less than memorable. Kyle says she's not the type to forget details. Maybe she's losing her edge. She taunts that she's still sharp enough to cut him to the bone. Holden asks how they know each other. Kyle says they ran a failed cosmetics company together. Audra snarks that it was a waste of her talents. Holden asks which one will fill him in on their history together. Kyle says the time he and Audra spent together is over too. They've moved on. He tells Audra there's no point in Jabot and Vibrante fighting. Holden learns that's her new company. Audra appreciates Kyle taking the high road. Holden remarks on everyone playing nice. Kyle's takeout arrives and he exits. Once alone, Audra asks Holden, "What are you trying to do?" Audra tells Holden he's out of his league and complains that he lied to her earlier when he pretended not to know who Kyle was. Holden calls her out for neglecting to tell him Vibrante was a cosmetics firm that puts her in direct competition with the company Kyle runs. Audra tells him it's none of his business and accuses him of having an agenda. He scans her and thinks it's obvious what he wants. Should he be jealous of her and Kyle? It's clear the heat is still there. Audra ignores him, but he keeps harping about the connection they shared. He knows how she is when a guy gets to her. Audra snarks, "You wish you knew." Holden sees she's trying to shut this down, which means there's more to the story. Audra tries to leave, but Holden grabs her arm. He wants to look out for her here the same way he did in L.A. Kyle says he wants to put whatever happened between you behind him. Is that what's going to happen? Audra informs him he doesn't need to be concerned about her and Kyle. Holden's sure if they're competing, the gloves will come off. Audra insists she and Kyle can be adults. Holden asks, where is the fun in that? Audra tells him he has a real problem with boundaries. When will he take the hint and go back to Los Angeles? Holden wonders if Audra hasn't moved on from Kyle. It seems like she might still have an axe to grind. She tells him to stay out of her business and her life and flounces off. Audra eavesdrops Kyle, meets up with Claire in the park, and she tells him she met up with Victor and it went as well as could be expected. Kyle's sure he was relieved they're not moving in together. He's still upset about putting their lives on hold due to his objections. Claire reminds him they're playing the game. She pitched him her party idea, and he didn't seem to suspect her ulterior motives. Now Kyle just has to make a grand gesture for Nikki's birthday that will please her grandfather. Kyle mutters that he could serve his head on a platter. Claire is sure he can win over her grandfather. May never accept them together. They kiss. Claire told her grandfather they weren't going to break up. He respected that she took his feelings into consideration. Kyle's still not happy about the temporary delay. He's worried giving in to Victor will encourage him to continue trying to come between them. Claire teases, "He's not between us right now." They kiss as Audra walks up. As Audra watches Claire and Kyle kiss, she flashes to Victor, telling her to show how easy it would be to lure him back into an affair with her. Every time she makes progress, he'll deposit more seed money into her account. Audra pulls out her phone and texts Kyle, "Appreciate what you said about not fighting, moving past our differences." She watches as his phone dings and he reads the text and smirks. Claire asks if something is wrong. He says not at all. Things were moving forward perfectly with Audra. Claire doesn't like that he's involved with her. Kyle reminds her he's playing her. Claire doesn't trust her. Kyle says he doesn't either, but he's making it so she trusts him. Once she does, she'll walk right into his trap. Audra turns away from the conversation and calls Victor. "I'm calling to suggest you arrange the first round of financing for Vibranti. Kyle's walking right into my trap."